I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we are watching Mushoku Tensei, Season 2, Episode 4. Last episode we were given, I guess, a new mission as members of the audience, and that is we're going forward with Soul. It's exciting.
I'm ecstatic about that, honestly.
I don't know what that means in regards to Rudy and his former relationship with Sarah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to interact with her at all before leaving.
We did debate that a little bit.
Leaving a letter.
Is he going to just leave it as this being the last interaction? What would actually be the healthiest or more mature thing for him to do or to handle the situation?
Maybe leave her a figurine of herself that doesn't reveal how specific he can get, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
As long as it's not a figure of Eris, I think
yeah,
all will be well.
Be
oh, Roxy. Like I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And also at the end of last episode, in the end credits, it looked like Annalise was there from season 1, episode 13.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I could be wrong there. It could just be somebody who looks a little similar, or
person.
I'm just completely making it up.
But their habits seem to also be similar, so.
That is true.
Evidence.
Ready?
Yes.
Sweet.
Gotta love a snowstorm. I'll love it.
Oh, look at that.
See Rudy up there?
Yep.
He's right behind Soul.
I like the shaky cam.
Is this like in the future? Like they have an established working relationship?
Look out. Red Dragon. Oh. Whew. Oh my god.
I wouldn't expect him needing saving anytime soon.
Dragon?
That was a wing sound. He's like, you killed my friends.
Oh! Haven't we heard about a red dragon before? Oh! Oh shit!
No retreat? No, okay.
This camera work is crazy.
Rudy!
Whoa!
He looks a little even older.
Yeah. Whew! Oh my god! Oh!
Look at Soul's smile. Look at that.
Damn! Oh my god, what a sequence. Look at his hair, it's a little shaggy.
I appreciate the consistency of fire and fireplace.
His
Does he
hair's
have a
longer.
ponytail?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Still working out his, you know, they all have their own names.
How much time has passed?
In the mage cloak, he does not appear to be ripped.
That's part of the illusion.
Boring.
Oh. Already? Oh my god.
That was a nice touch. They're like, we gotta change our song. Is this a love song they're playing now?
They're creating the atmosphere. What's interesting.
They're like, darn it. Where Zenith is, right?
Maybe, because they was with Roxy, right?
I like the ponytail.
I learned where Zenith was. A year.
Plus, it's almost winter.
Huh.
Reached there by now. Why would she be carefree? They're all like, am I next? Practically a crime.
Man.
No! Leave.
What the Look at Soul's face. If you have her in your party, I wonder if the entire party's morale boosts.
Yeah, how does that happen? What about infighting?
I imagine she has quite a bit of power, just of influence. Roxy, Roxy, or Paul. I love that she's reading. Whoa. Research as they see fit. Be a good place for Sylphie to find him. Yeah. Another mage? Conrad. Good publicity. Yeah. Like the original goal was forgotten. Original goal. Man, God. He's gonna tell you to go. God damn it. It's been 2 years. Interesting.
Because he's plateaued. Pushing him to go to the university. More than a common adventurer could ever hope to.
You'll regret it. The real advice is yet to come. He's like, I know exactly what I need to do now. I've always wanted to go to the University of Magic. His winter passed.
No, look, Soul's like so against this.
Annalise is coming. Did he tell Soul about Man God?
I love snowdrops.
I love this song so much. Hi,
Stop!
I don't know who you are.
Stop! Is he there? He's
Fuck!
there!
Oh, no way!
What?
No way!
This is insane. This is where Sylphie is, 100%,
Oh
right?
my god! Oh
No
my
way!
god!
Look
Ah!
Do you see what's
There's
happening? This is insanity.
It took me a second. Oh my god! I can't wait. Whew.
What is even happening?
Oh.
What school days arc are we about to get? Like, what is happening?
Okay, that was Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Episode 4. I'm such an idiot. It took me a second. Cliff. Holy shit, dude. Oh. I cannot believe it.
I don't know what is about to happen. I'm like, am I about to watch some school rumble-esque drama anime school time vibes with, oh no, I like this guy, but this guy likes the protagonist main girl, and then they're all a friend group, so they also all go to the beach together, and
Maybe.
what school drama am I about to watch? I am shocked.
Like cliques,
Yeah.
sports teams.
There's obviously a clique with, Silent Fitz, Ariel and Luke. They have their own little... they have fan clubs lining up the hallways to, watch them walk by.
I can't believe it, man.
Like,
I can't fucking believe it. And
it makes so much sense narratively. Like, in this episode, I literally was saying, oh, the original goal that was forgotten about. And then the next line, Rudy's like, oh yeah, that was my original goal. And we've literally come back to the original goal to actually happen narratively.
Was that PAX too?
That wasn't... I thought Pax was the gross one.
Pax is the gross one, but obviously some time has passed,
This was his older brother, right? His older brother
This is
was
Zenoba, right?
Yeah, the older brother was obsessed with the statues.
Yes, the person who has tried to direct his life in such a way that he will one day maybe be able to impress his
and it
old
makes
teacher.
Sense because Rudy's coming here in order to shape up before seeing his master.
Interesting.
And his pupil is at this same... And Sylphie was his original pupil.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Everything's coming together.
I imagine that that he is Zenoba's somewhat of a prodigy at the University of Magic in terms of sculpting and detail and maybe his own secret technique of having removable clothing to show more details in a third arm.
Mm-hmm.
But once his master arrives on the scene and he's able to tell everybody this is what true greatness looks like, that itself will be an in. Also, part of me genuinely believes that the reason that he's been scouted has nothing to do with his incantationless magic, and it's just because of the recommendation of Zenoba and how talented he is as a sculptor.
Oh, I was going to say it's Ariel.
That too. It could be one of many, right?
There's some people with pull. I think we thought that Cliff was obviously someone with pull or was being brought up by some prestigious, organization in Millis. And so I feel like there are a few different people. And we also have, the daughter of the leader in Doldia Village here.
Amazing.
We have some pull from, different continents, different countries, different places. All these people who would want Rudius to come to this school, all attending. And
Look at this, beautiful, pigtailed beast gorilla. And they're all like, oh, who are these people? They're gorgeous. And they are gorgeous.
I mean, I gotta say, Luke, with the one little straggle there, it's
a nice look.
Perfect.
Don't wonder,
gel it all back.
Does Rudy immediately recognize Sylphie? Regardless of the glasses and the hair change? I have so much I want to talk about this episode.
Honestly,
oh my God.
That's a really great question, because I could see it going the direction of one of those kind of comedic encounters where someone takes advantage of the fact that you don't recognize them in order to talk to you, because either they're nervous to talk to you as themselves, or they want to know what you think of them. It could be used that way, especially with the glasses and the different color hair. I doubt in Rudius's mind that Sophie's hair would ever be a different color.
Yeah.
Or that they'd be presenting male.
Yeah. I think that the fact that Sylphie is there, and it was one of the first establishing through lines and motives of our character, of our main character in this world, that one day he would dream of bringing her along, whether, granted, it was selfish at first, right? It was like, what does Sylphie want? But the whole idea that was cemented and given to us so early in the series, and now we're going to be at the university with her, is so fucking crazy to me. It's so cool. I'm so excited, man.
That brings up a really great conversation piece, though, about Rudy, how he started his life with kind of those selfish desires of almost taking away someone else's autonomy. Like, I want her to go with me because I want it. But what does Sylphie want? And then later on in his life, someone else chooses something for themselves, and it is a betrayal to him,
Yeah.
So it's interesting that, as he's growing, he's learning that, other people, act within their own selfish desires. To be selfish isn't inherently wrong, but sometimes it can be, and don't try to take away someone else's choice or autonomy. You can't force someone to be with you or force someone to go somewhere with you.
Yeah. What I said earlier about jokingly about how the recommendation would be from sculptures, what I truly imagine it being is the after credit from season 1, the last episode, and them communicating and trying to scout Rudy for their purpose. I imagine that's how we got this invitation here.
This is honestly the perfect idea for Ariel in terms of creating a base for herself of people who want her to be the ruler.
Yeah.
She's literally going not only to beef up her status in terms of maybe getting stronger herself academically and with magic, but what she's also doing is she's creating these lasting memories and friendship and togetherness with peers around her age that will be alma maters of this school someday, and also have maybe some of them come from prestigious households that could then vouch for her and support her in taking the throne.
Yeah. I don't know what Annalise is going to be doing at the college. I imagine some professors might find her to be some sort of a distraction.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be welcomed in the premises, into the
school grounds.
She might be used for the sculpture classes as a model, as a live model.
So, dude, there are so many things I want to talk about, and I'm so excited about going forward. Right off the bat, the thought of Rudy, I know that he phrased it like the red dragon was half dead, but I find it so satisfying to see Rudy slay a red dragon when, I think it was episode 21, when Eris opened up. It was the Turning Point 2 when Eris opened up the episode by saying that she'd one day love to slay a red dragon. Mm-hmm. And that idea of power, of what that would take, was cemented in our minds. And this is a way that we're closing out a mini arc before we get to the University of Magic. I know that Rudy said that he kind of plateaued recently, mm-hmm. but it's so cool to see him show this show us how much power he currently has by utilizing a previous statement from a mm-hmm. character that, you know, we love.
And what it also does is it mirrors and it parallels the reason for going to Rinoa from what Man God said, is that, yeah, you're really, really strong. Of course they would want you there, but you also, like, there's some room to grow still, and you don't want to plateau by the time that you see your master. And in that situation with the red dragon, he keeps saying, well, it was already about to die. So in that red dragon example, he slayed what he could, but there is a stronger, not on their last legs red dragon out there to be slayed. So there is still room to grow and to get stronger, and he should continue on to achieve that.
Yeah. You know, thinking about going forward and getting to the university, you know, one thing that I have, like, immediately in my mind, without saying what anime it is, it consists of a character named Excalibur. There's a fight early on in, like, school grounds between two characters there, and that's how I imagine the fight going down. That is definitely going to happen between Cliff and Rudy. I think Cliff is going to be, like, immediately like, I need to see what you're made of. I've been told about you from someone, and I need to prove to you that I'm the stronger one.
That's an interesting, actually, conversation to bring up in itself, that Cliff also had a crush or asked Eris to marry him or stay with him, basically. And what is that going to do to Rudy to, like, have to open up? Like, Rudy's talked about Eris to people that never met Eris, mm-hmm. but this will be his first interaction talking to someone about her that knew her, or that, you know, might bring up things or push buttons a little too far in trying to, like, talk about her, yeah. or bring things up about her, might even talk about their own, like, ideas of how great she is or beautiful she is or whatever. And that's going to be very hard or difficult for Rudy to hear or be a part of that conversation.
I agree. I have so many things. I don't even know where to go. So just because it's the first thing that comes to mind, there were several times this episode, I felt like it was made to be an episode that gave us a lot of information. It was a great segue episode while giving us fantastic action. It was trying to convey, like, a good amount of everything. But I felt an immense amount of unease at several points during this episode, and skepticism, and that might just be me being cynical and nihilistic, but in regards to, one, Man God's presence, I've always, like, again, the specific words that he used I want to get into, and then two, anything regarding Zenith has me a little freaked the fuck out right now.
I wrote down one of the word choices because I was like,
the Carefree Labyrinth Explorer.
The Carefree, and also to be told that, like, he would really regret going there.
Yeah.
If you were to, like, water it down or surface level it, it'd be like, oh yeah, well, Paul going to get Zenith is probably better narratively because husband and wife, and he has slighted her before, so it would be very nice for Paul to be the one that goes in and rescues her. Sure. But then to get language about her being a carefree explorer, there's no way, unless she's, like, actually not the person that we thought she was, that she would be carefree and exploring right now.
Yeah.
With her daughter, mainly Norn. I think, like, Norn is, like, the biggest, like...
I agree.
I cannot believe the word
Rudy,
carefree.
too, in a similar sense. Obviously, I imagine that Zenith has no worry about Rudy's safety because she recognizes how talented he is and, like, trusts him in the similar sense that Paul did, I think. That being said, I was extremely unsettled, like how it was brought up and mentioned and the connection between it. Because when we were given the establishment of Kishirika telling Roxy of Zenith's existence, right? It wasn't anything as specific as we heard this episode. And that's what worries me, right? Because if we're told where she is, which we were, but not specifically because it was difficult for Kishirika to make out, and the potential being, the implication there being that there was powerful things and beings and people around that area, how that is then transformed into the language we heard this episode is very interesting, and it just makes me uneasy.
So obviously Ellen Elise was sent with this message to find Rudy, to tell him, don't go find Zenith, basically. Is it possible, just like, this is just like a little theory out there of why they would be phrasing this situation with Zenith the way they are to Rudy. Is it possible that since Paul is going to handle this, and since his team is going to help him, and Roxy, who was the master of Rudy, it's kind of like a almost possibly that Paul is looking out for his child Rudy here and being like, maybe there is information that this is going to be difficult, or Zenith is not in the best position, and it's possible that since Paul understands like what his son's already been through, he's gonna try to do this for his family. Like, he is the head of the family in his mind, and so maybe he's choosing to protect Rudy here and do it himself, but also like this is his thing to do because it is his wife Zenith, and so he's getting together his original team and to go find her. And it's possible that it's purposeful on his end to kind of spare Rudy, not because he doesn't trust that Rudy's strong and that he could use Rudy's help, and not that they necessarily don't need the help, but maybe that he's trying to protect Rudy in some way from seeing his mother in a certain situation, or possibly getting hurt further.
Yeah, I really love that you bring that up, because I think that there's parts of that I can easily latch onto and parts that I can't, right? Like, the idea that Rudy was the one to rescue Lilia and Aisha and get them to where Paul is, combined with the conversation and leaving off we had in regards to Paul. I think that it could potentially definitely be in Paul's character to make a move like that, and to potentially spare Rudy any risk or anything like that. I completely agree with that, and I'm glad that you said it. The only thing that is like nagging me about that, for why that potentially like could not be the case, or might not be the case, is that like, if it is a serious enough matter, I can imagine Paul being like, well, we'll handle this, right? But what would go along with that would be, as well as I don't want to put Rudy through this, the ignoring what Rudy could bring to the table in terms of an actual fight or a battle. Unless like they were able to get their mage, who is even stronger than Rudy is, or, you know.
I mean, they have Roxy with them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's also possible that this letter that Ellen Elise brought to the table was something that she already had on her person, and was not something that was just now mailed to Rudy. Something where Roxy sent a letter even out to, and petitioned that they let Rudy in, told them that she vouched for him as the master, as the water class mage that taught Rudy, and that is why the university sent the letter. And maybe this is their chance to like kind of not distract Rudy, but maybe like send him on his own mission to get stronger. And that's purposeful, but also takes up the same time period that it would to possibly get Zenith back.
I think that it is really important to acknowledge the fact that Annalise is here, right? Like, it's not just like not that you could necessarily just send a letter easily to Rudy, but it is somebody of quite big importance to deliver this message, right? The language,
someone who's also very convincing.
Yeah. She's in the labyrinth city of Rappa, near the center of the Begarit continent. Traveling there on foot from here might take me a year or more. Is this where we get the line about what she's up to? I decided to stay in this country for now. According to Annalise, Zenith is a carefree labyrinth explorer now. And
you don't need to rush.
Is that an implication? Right?
Like, look at her. We're not seeing her facial expression when these lines are being delivered, and he's smiling like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Everyone's there. My mom's okay, carefree. But we're not seeing her lines as she's delivering this.
We met Roxy while out looking for Paul's family and formed a party with her. We know that. The others should have joined Paul and reached Begarit by now. So the implication, or what I'm going off of there, is that Roxy wasn't given any more information that we, other than what we saw.
Right. How would we know that she's carefree? Like, is this a made up piece of information here?
Yeah. Or like, is it like assumed based off of other things that we don't know yet? It's interesting.
Because I'm pretty sure, like, I would be surprised if there was more to the Roxy and Kishi-Rika interaction. Because Roxy runs away after it.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if there was more to know about it. That Roxy would know and that Paul would know.
Yeah.
And so I do think it is interesting that this messenger has been sent. This letter has arrived at the same time.
Annalise hates Paul. Like, I obviously, like,
Paul,
yeah.
Which I do, like, wonder. I have, like, different theories of why exactly she might hate Paul.
I don't think she's, like, evil or antagonistic in that way. And
it's okay to hate someone.
Yeah.
Or disagree with them and not be antagonistic.
For sure. Man. So it's been 2 years. Rudy called for him many, many times, which I think is really important to note, as well as God saying it isn't easy for him, which is also a really important thing to note.
Like, he's weakened.
Yeah. And I think it's weird that, like, God obviously wants Rudy to be stronger, and that's concerning to me. Like, I'm like, why do you want him to be stronger? What are you trying to inevitably train him and get him to do? I
feel like Rudy almost, when I think about this interaction, I think of, like, that saying that's like all your eggs in one basket. And I feel like God, I almost have this feeling that he is putting all he can, all he has left, all he can give toward trying to meet with Rudy in his dreams and to even, like, you know, influence Rudy's path in order to utilize him for something in the future. And that's why he says the line that it's hard for him to do this as well to meet in the dreams. And
I liked how you brought up influence, right? Because specifically when God appeared, it was after Rudy made up his mind about not doing what God wanted, right? Obviously Rudy didn't know God thing, but, like, deciding that he wasn't going to go to the university and making that decision is what spurred God to appear. How much does is God constantly able to read Rudy's thoughts? You know, like,
it's I also wrote down this little thing during that interaction. God's true form wouldn't want to see. Like, I doubt that that's what God actually looks like in world.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a dream-like kind of I'm sending myself into your dreams form.
Yeah.
And not what God actually looks like in this world if he were walking down the street. And with the little dances and the mannerisms,
you'll regret if you go. I can't tell you though.
I'm scared to see what God would actually look like.
And okay, so one thing that I've never in my entire life seen from an anime is the terminology erectile dysfunction. And
that's true. I don't think I've ever seen that either.
And I'm bringing that up because it's a very serious issue. But also, God definitely utilized that to further his own motive and goals. Word. Yeah. And I think that's very, that could be very fucked up.
It could be very fucked up. Yeah.
And it makes me, like, question it more because, like, it's obviously, like we know Rudy.
That's exactly how you manipulate someone, is especially if you know information about them that you like purposefully use it or place it there as, oh, well, don't you want to fix that? You have ED. Don't you want to do something about that? Like,
it's like, regardless of if it's true or not, it's interesting that he'd utilize it here.
Especially because he's a figure that gives advice and knows things that Rudy doesn't know. And Rudy, as the observer and the less knowing participant in this conversation, will then put more credence or belief, even if he's a little skeptical, on the words that Man God says. And so Man God could totally be doing that thing where it's like 2 truths and a lie, or 1 truth and 3 lies, or whatever, in order to like put something out there that sounds believable, but then tack on things to like juice it up a little bit so that Rudy wants to do it.
Now, if we are to believe Man God, that going here will cure that side of him, will he be cured, 1, by seeing an incredible sculpture of Roxy by Zenoba, or 2, by Sylphie?
I am worried that Rudy's going to have a crush on Ariel.
That's fair.
First and foremost, just going to say that I'm worried about that for Sylphie's sake. But I am really interested in that idea of like, why does going here fix that? If that is a truth that Man God said.
I believe him because he's given us many like roundabout truths.
And so I'm trying to unpack why it would be Sylphie in terms of like actually analyzing or understanding why that character specifically would be the one. Is it because it was that first love person, that first...
I'm more going about like process of elimination too, though, right? Like, out of and everybody we know to be there, who would be the one?
Yeah, who would be the one? It's either going to be a new girl, Ariel, or it's going to be the original girl, Sylphie. But I'm not exactly sure how they would utilize Sylphie, especially in the position Sylphie's in. I'm not sure how that would go about, and will I feel good about it as the viewer? Will I feel...
I wish
good. I don't
in this notebook that I have, I've recorded every episode from season 1, episode 4. My first 3 episodes are in a different notebook that I can't find, and I wish I had them, because all I have about Sylphie here is Rudy saying that one day Sylphie might surpass me. And that's like a great point and all, and something that like we can theorize against, but in terms of their relationship early on, I don't have much written down or memories that well, other than like Rudy not realizing that Sylphie was a girl at first.
Yeah, and their relationship early on was at the time where Rudy was still playing this life a little bit too much like a game and manipulative, and he wasn't really being that great to the people around him. He was definitely using the fact that he had an older brain in a smaller body, and he was utilizing that in like fights of words with Paul, and to manipulate the situation between Zenith and Lilia when we found out about Lilia being pregnant. It's not like... How does Sylphie feel exactly about Rudy now? How would she think of the Rudy that exists now? That is probably why it could be Sylphie that is the character that helps almost heal Rudy, because we get that idea that Rudy would then be seeing himself through someone else's eyes, someone who knew him all that time ago and is seeing him now, and that could definitely help heal him and love for himself. Maybe.
I find myself and maybe it's just because my heart is swayed. I find myself continuously thinking about Zenith right now. In episode 13, I have a line written down about how Zenith is an S-rank adventurer, and I assume the only way we would have gotten that information is from Talhand or Annalise, and like in that episode in terms of talking to Roxy. And is it based off of that?
Or was it from Ghislaine at some point when we were learning about
maybe
group of people?
But I thought that this was the episode that was just with Annalise, Roxy, and Talhand for the most part.
This episode 13.
13, yeah.
I was just trying to figure out some other time we could have heard more about Zenith's
but
strength.
So is it like that combination of, oh, we know that she's there and she's alive and that she hasn't interacted with the rest of her family, plus we know how strong she is and that she could take care of herself, that there must be a reason that she's staying and she's just being like a carefree, labyrinth explorer. I don't know. It's very odd to me.
It's odd to me too, that it really is that either we are being lied to, as almost like if this whole episode, we're seeing that Rudy is older now. 2 more years have passed. Like, he's really beefed up and, but obviously his magic is plateaued. But then we're getting the possibility that he's still being treated like a child, possibly, by older adults in his life that are from family influence, wanting to maybe soften some blows and not cause any really traumatic emotional response in Rudy, which is a really interesting kind of like, oh, everyone else is respecting him almost like he's on a level playing field with them. He's probably around 15 or something, which is the adult in this world. So he shouldn't be treated to or talked to like he's a child, but if you bring in the family element, then you could understand where it's coming from. Or you have to believe that Zenith is not who we thought she was, and that she is able to be carefree while her whole family is somewhere else. So it's like, I have to believe one of those two things. I'm gonna pick that we're purposefully trying to make it so that Rudy doesn't go.
I'm with you. I'm really excited about going here in terms of I think that there might be a decent amount of potential in learning more lore for us, but specifically for Rudy. I wonder if he'll learn more about curses and about like who these people are, like Man God or Orsted, and like what the legends say about them. Part of me would think that Rudy wouldn't learn anything about Man God because Man God is on board with going here, and I have trust issues in regards to Man God.
I mean, you're bringing up a good point of like what Rudy is being invited to do is not to join the student body. He does not have to pay tuition. He does not have to go to classes.
You're utilizing their resources.
He's able to utilize their libraries and their resources, but also underneath language, he's able to mingle with some of the elite people that are also there, possibly in the same position that he is, where they don't have to pay tuition and they don't have to attend classes.
Yeah. I'm super excited to see more of Cliff. I know we've only known him for a bit, but I really enjoyed Soul as a character, and I think that
was really honestly sad.
I like what, their departure?
Yes. And he was just like looking away, like.
Yeah. I liked him a lot as a character, and I liked their farewell, and I liked that Rudy acknowledged like how much he did for him, even if we didn't see it all. It's the implication there, right?
Yeah. As a viewer, I'm a little bummed that Soul was only really heavily in like 2 episodes. Maybe, like, because I really was liking their dynamic and like what influence Soul could have and relationship he could have with Rudy. I was really appreciating that after kind of probably missing Ruijerd.
Yeah.
And so I was really enjoying this dynamic and what it could do for Rudy to have almost like that big brother figure. So I am pretty sad about the fact that Soul's not in it anymore.
I think it's funny that like we know Rudy's like idea of staying in a place long enough to make a good name for himself. Like that whole sequence of the people singing for him and then being like, oh shit, that Quagmire's right there, and like them playing romantic music for like setting the scene. Love that all. And I love that, again, he's going around making a great name for himself, but with every village and every villager that's saying great things about Rudy, there's going to be one person who's like, nah, that dude's a mean piece of shit. And that person's Sarah. like Sarah was hurt. I don't know.
We didn't tie up loose ends there. We kind of left them as they lay. But I have a question for you about the tone and mood of this episode. I would say out of like any episode I've seen of this show, this had the most like almost comedic moments and like showing character like comedic moments. Oh, we're gonna peek over the wall and see this interaction with Rudy.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Soul's face after having a night with Ellen Elise. You know, like there was, and then Rudy's face at multiple occasions of listening. You know, in very funny facial expressions, very emotional, reactive things going on. We're getting little like drool droplets on people's faces. We're getting all these blushy men. Like this whole episode also had this overarching like comedy vibe to it that I find to be intriguing.
I agree with you if that was a question. Okay. But
it kind of is. Like I guess I'm trying to figure out what its purpose was.
Well, when I said earlier in the discussion that it was like a little bit or a lot of bit of everything this episode, that kind of went along with it, and I think that kind of made me a little uneasy at times because of like how they leaned into that humor side of things. It's like they used
this character, and I feel like Ellen Elise is as a character is a very distracting character.
I agree.
And it's almost like we're having manipulation from Man God possibly. We're having manipulation from a distracting character possibly. Yep. It's almost like this whole episode we're being a little bit manipulated or distracted, just like Rudy. And so I find that was really fun.
I agree, and it's also like unsettling a bit. I alluded to it during the reaction, but I think that not that we've been given any evidence to support it, but I think Annalise could potentially be one of the most powerful people that we've seen in the show. I think in like a good or a bad way, malicious or not, because when you're in the type of position that she is in, and she's like paying people like for like how Rudy described it, right? And like the interaction with Soul, but she has a lot. She's insane at getting information and has a lot of control over people and a lot of sway over people and is very easily causing distractions. And like, I think her entire interaction with Rudy, being able to see the pendant that he had, like that is a perfect showing of her character.
She's able to touch people effortlessly with their guards down in order to either
with an ulterior motive.
Check if something's on their person, figure out something about them, maybe steal something from them. Like she is a weapon.
She is able to convince people, or she is able to make people blind to her true intentions.
Yeah, Rudy was like, she's literally like can get a guy up to her room in a second. And I'm like, she's a weapon.
Yeah. She's scary a little bit.
Honestly, yeah.
All right, that's all I have you. Oh, the animation, by the way, real quick, just fucking phenomenal of the dragon fight. It was amazing. I'm probably going to watch that sequence a couple times.
His eyes when it got more like squinted in concentration.
It was really cool. Amazing. Loved it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.